Welcome back to another week of workout routines, and in this video I'll be sharing the workouts that I just did this past week to add some more muscle mass to my physique. It is a great workout split and we're going to do quite a few different things in this video. We're going to start things off with day number 1, hitting the chest, the back, and the legs. A deadly combination, but it is a great workout and it really does push your limits. And we want to push ourselves when we're at the gym, and that's why I love this workout split, because it is challenging and it is going to push your limits for sure. We are starting with an easy bar on the bench press, flat bench, and we're actually going to be doing down the rack training, which is a training style that a lot of old school bodybuilders used to change things up, to really activate hypertrophy, pump that muscle full of blood. And you're going to do this by doing 6 sets of drop sets. You're going to pick one weight, your heaviest weight, for 6 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then immediately once you finish those 6 reps, you're going to go over to the dumbbell rack, pick up a lighter pair of dumbbells, go back to the bench and hit 6 more for a total of 6 drop sets. And it is a killer way to work out and really does make your heart accelerate, gives you a good sweat, and it really does test your mindset when you are training. It's a great way to train because of that reason. After hitting the wide grip easy bar bench press, we moved on to some dumbbell incline presses, and then moved on to some dips, and then finishing off the chest section of the workout with some dumbbell pullovers. We're basically using a lot of different exercises that hit different regions of the chest to really build a full steel plated chest. And you get it done by doing all of these separate exercises, because each one will target a different region of the specific muscle that we're working. So that was for the chest. Now we're moving on to the back portion of the workout, and again we're going to pick a few exercises. We're starting with the cable lat pull downs, and even in this section of the workout we're still doing our drop sets. So we're going to do 6 drop sets of 6 reps once again to get that really good pump sensation. That's why we're using cables and dumbbells and easy bars, because it's easier to lower the weight and then hit those 6 reps by doing it in this fashion. After doing the cable lat pull downs, we're moving on to the closed grip cable rows. And we love using the cables because it keeps the tension on our back muscles throughout the movement, and time under tension is one of the key factors of muscle growth. That's why it is important to utilize these different exercises within your regime to get the maximum amount of muscle growth. You really want to see change by doing all of these different things to stimulate the muscle fibers in different ways. And after doing the closed grip cable rows, we're moving on to some closed grip cable lat pull downs to finish the back off nicely. And now we're moving on to the leg portion of the workout by hitting some machine leg presses. And I've said this before in my previous videos that this specific machine leg press always feels super nice, so I've been utilizing it a lot lately. And then after doing those, you're gonna do your 6 drop sets still of the drop sets of hamstring curls after doing the leg press. And we're only doing 2 exercises for the legs, because I've noticed that my legs just don't really need a whole lot of volume, and we're doing 6 drop sets. I feel like the volume really does help. And now we're moving on to day number 2. We will be hitting the shoulders, the biceps, and the triceps, and the forearms in this awesome arm day, doing the drop set style still. So you're doing 6 reps, and then you're going to drop the weight, 6 reps, drop the weight, 6 reps, and the process to be done for a total of 6 times. And it really does fatigue the muscle and pump it up. It's a really satisfying way to train. And after doing the dumbbell shoulder presses, we did some lateral raises to hit the lateral head of the shoulder. Now we're going to hit the back portion of the shoulder, the rear delt, with some bent over dumbbell rear delt flies. Doing those again with some drop sets, as many as you can. I think I only was able to do like 3 different weights and just did 2 sets of 3 different weights. But honestly, the point is that you're lowering the weight and then getting those reps in again. After doing the shoulder portion of the workout, we're moving on to the biceps with some alternating dumbbell bicep curls, doing one arm at a time to focus on building that muscle mind connection that is needed to really get in a good pump. You have to learn and teach yourself how to engage that muscle within the workout itself by focusing on the stretch and the contraction. And after doing the dumbbell bicep curls, we're moving on to the cable bicep curls, hitting them back to back. Such a good feeling for the biceps. And after that, we're moving on to the tricep portion of the workout with some cable tricep pushdowns, still doing the 6 sets of 6 reps for the drop sets in each exercise. It's just the way we're training for days number 1 and 2. And then after the cable tricep pushdowns, we're moving on to some cross body dumbbell tricep skull crushers or extensions. It's a really great variation, and I get in a really good stretch when I do it in this manner. And then we're going to finish off the arm day with some easy bar wrist curls for the forearms. And the idea is to develop some strong forearms so then we are able to lift heavier weight using our biceps, and even more some for the other things we have to lift when we're in the gym. So lately I've been building my forearm strength, something that I've only recently gotten into, but it's fun to add in to the workouts themselves. Now we're moving on to day number 4 because day 3 was a rest day. We're moving on to day number 4, hitting the chest, back, and legs, but this time we are doing a more standard way of training. We're picking a weight, doing that for 8 reps, and we're gonna do a total of 5 sets for the first exercise of that muscle group. So the easy bar bench press, we did 5 sets of 8 reps of those, but only 4 sets for the rest of the exercises. I just like to start off strong when I'm hitting a muscle group for the first time. We gotta really activate it by hitting it hard. And after doing the dumbbell bench press, we're going to move on to the pec deck. And this time in our training, instead of doing the drop sets or down the rack training, we're just training in a very traditional manner of training. Usually people do 3 sets. If the 4 sets is too much, you can just knock it down to 3 sets of 8 reps. But I am doing 4 because I like the volume. I feel like a huge difference is seen in my physique when I tend to have higher volume. It just looks better and looks more full and pumped up. And after doing the pec deck, we're gonna finish off the chest with some dumbbell pullovers, one of my all-time favorites for building the chest. I feel like it gives me such a good stretch, and it's one that I'm never gonna not do. And after that, we're moving on to the back portion of the workout, doing some one-arm dumbbell rows, which is an exercise I haven't done in a while, so I whipped it out of my utility belt of exercises, and we're doing one arm at a time in this variation, just again to build that muscle mind connection using that specific side of the body. Now we're moving on to some cable lat pull downs. I love cable lat pull downs, especially with a wider grip. I feel like it is great for developing the V-taper of the body, and I've always noticed my back always looks better when I do the cable lat pull downs, so putting them in is crucial for me. It's just an exercise that I would never not do, just like the dumbbell pullovers. And now we're moving on to the cable rows to hit the back again in a different manner, and I have it angled from the floor because that's just what feels best for me. But you can have the angle up, you can sit on the floor, you can have a seated cable row. It's really up to you as long as you're doing a cable row variation. And now we're moving on to the leg portion of the workout. We're gonna do some leg extensions. We're gonna do 6 sets of each exercise again for the legs. That's just how I've been training, so I don't have to do so many exercises. I can just really fatigue and pump the muscle with just one specific muscle group or specific exercise. And we're doing the leg extensions for the quads, and then we are going to finish off with the hamstring curls for the hamstrings, doing 6 sets of 8 reps of those. And now we're moving on to our next day of training, which will be our shoulders and arm day. Gonna be starting off the workout with a machine shoulder press, which is something I haven't done in a very long time, and I wanted to change things up. It's always good to change things up, shock the muscle, just as long as we get in our volume and make sure that we train hard. And that is really just the key difference of when you're going to see your gains or not, is whether or not you are actually pushing yourself to failure in these sets. And after doing the machine shoulder press, doing 5 sets of 8 reps of those, we're moving on to some incline side lateral raises. This is a variation of a lateral raise, and I love it. I absolutely love it because I get such a good feeling in my shoulder. It is stretched very effortlessly and activated because of that angle. I feel like it really is great at really getting deep into the muscle tissue itself. I always can feel it, and it feels so like bizarre but also satisfying. So I don't know if that's an exercise that you have ever done, but you can comment it below some other exercises. I would love to try out any exercise that you have that is on your mind. After doing the dumbbell rear delt flies, we're moving on to the biceps with one of my all-time favorites for building those thick, juicy biceps, the dumbbell preacher curl, doing 5 sets of 8 reps of these. And the 5 sets just comes from me wanting to hit that muscle group hard with the first exercise, and then after that doing 4 sets for the following exercises for that muscle group is just the way that I've been training lately. And after doing the dumbbell preacher curls, we're moving on to the easy bar to do some standing easy bar bicep curls. Very good at just targeting and hitting those biceps hard. Then we're moving on to the triceps with a 1-arm dumbbell French press. And just like any exercise we do in front of a mirror standing, we want to make sure that we engage our core, have good posture, and make sure that we are keeping our mind within that muscle as well while we're using it to build that muscle-mind connection. After doing the dumbbell French presses, we're moving on to a close grip chest press, but it's really for the triceps. So you want to have your grip relatively close so that it just activates the triceps. And from this angle, you can actually see that my chest isn't really like squeezing in that at all, which is actually what we want. We just want the tension in the triceps. And then we're going to finish off the arm day again with easy bar wrist curl and actually doing 6 sets of these. And that concludes the workout routine. You're going to take a rest day and then repeat the process, or you can take 2 rest days and then start it from the beginning. And that concludes our video for today. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more workouts like this in the future. And as always, stay tuned and thank you for watching.